Queen Elizabeth celebrates 69 years as monarch as Boris Johnson urges for more transparency in royal finances.
I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world for the royal family to be a little more transparent about their finances, because it is really confusing and the labyrinthine system that they have.
Prince Harry films carpool karaoke with James Corden, and is Duchess Kate planning for baby number 4 as she speaks with teachers during Mental Health Week?
I just wanted to check in with you. Obviously, you're doing an amazing job at the moment supporting kids, and I know the school's still open, supporting key workers and things like that.
Plus, royal expert and author Robert Jobson reveals how he thinks Princess Diana would have reacted to William and Harry's long-rumored rift.
If the mother was alive, I'm sure she'd bang their heads together and say, do a television, make up, do a television interview, and just stop the stories.
We've got that plus so much more in today's Royally Us. Hello to our fellow royal lovers, and welcome to Royally Us. I'm Christina, that's Molly, the host of the Diva Behavior Podcast. Molly, how are you?
I'm good. It is blizzarding in London. How is it where you are?
It's snowing here in New York as well. So
unreal.
It is a winter wonderland out here. But I love your new look.
Oh my gosh, thank you. It was actually an accident, so we'll see how long it stays. But
I love it.
DIY your dye job at home, everybody.
A quarantine project, which I'm sure a lot of people are doing.
Right. I mean, got to do something to pass the time.
Totally, exactly. Well, we have a lot to get to today, a lot of news in the royal world. Let's kick it off with our royal viewers, our royal watchers, who had a lot to say about last week's show. Kicking it off with Daniel Wallace, who says Meghan will get judged regardless of what she does. If it were me, I'd go to the birthday party. Please, people don't turn 100 every day. Plus, Archie can play with his cousins, and decided based on popularity, the UK would have a president, not a monarch. So he was commenting on a few different things at once.
Right. I mean, I get what he's saying, and I love my cousins, and I grew up so close with them. So to me, it's like, why don't you just go? But I also understand it's way more complicated than that.
It is. And like, you have to think, like, when Archie would fly, he would be 2, probably. He would be, because he turns 2 in May. So he has to wear a mask for that whole time. It's probably just a very stressful situation that she's probably like, we can do this, like, maybe over Zoom or something like that.
Right. And we all remember what happened last time they flew private. So they probably want to avoid that complete kerfuffle as well.
Can't win at all. Next one comes from Birdie Cam, says, you people are being unfair to Meghan and cannot be trusted to speak on her behalf. Why shouldn't she speak up about it? Royal reporters were the ones to blow up the story about the birth certificate situation.
I don't think we're speaking on, we're not speaking on Meghan's behalf at all.
Not at all. We're just telling you the story and giving you the facts.
Yeah. And I do understand this is another situation where Meghan can't win, because by speaking about the birth certificate situation, it turned it into a way bigger story. And there's also the possibility that if she didn't speak about it, people would run wild with conspiracy theories. So I do see this person's point.
Yes, totally. All right, well, let's get to our royal roundup, our royal news of the weekend. Kick it off with Prince Harry, who has been keeping himself busy with the company of James Corden. I think this was a little surprising because they were spotted filming together. A lot of people think it's maybe carpool karaoke. We're still getting a little bit more details about it.
Yes, they were up on top of a double-decker bus, which is really fun because that's like the iconic mode of transport in London. So it was a cool little throwback to his British roots. Of course, the ones in London are not open air because you wouldn't be able to be in them most of the time if they were. But I think it's great. We're going to see like the Harry that everyone grew up loving.
Yes.
The fun, funny, like joking around Harry.
Totally. And I think it'll be fun. It's being reported that they're, going to be sightseeing around LA, and kind of Harry's going to be talking about what life has been like since he'd moved over here. So maybe we'll get an inside look on what life has been like for him. And we hear that Meghan was not involved. She stayed back at home. So this is just Harry and James. And they've been friends for quite some time, right?
Right. James attended Harry's wedding. He made some funny jokes about having allergies because of all the beautiful flowers inside the church. So yeah, they've known each other for a while. There is a whole group of Brits over in LA who it seems like maybe Meghan and Harry are palling around with. And it just sounds like a lot of fun.
I know. I'm really looking forward to it. We haven't had like a James Corden carpool karaoke in quite some time. So this will definitely be something to look forward to.
Right. I wish he was going to be singing though, but I don't think that we can expect that to happen.
I don't think so either. Well, Harry and Meghan have also been busy thanking fans who sent them well wishes over the holidays by replying with a photo card, and they replied with a throwback photo.
Yes, it was a really cute photo. It was a picture of them in Dubbo during their tour to Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, and Tonga. And Meghan is holding the umbrella over Harry's head, and Harry is speaking into the microphone. And it's just a really cute, I would say unexpected photo because it's so candid.
Yeah, it's so candid and not something that you, like you said, would expect. And out of all the photos that they could have chosen, I mean, why choose this one? But it seems like it was something special for them. And they thanked everybody for reaching out to them over the holidays. And it's definitely a nice little personalized touch.
Yeah, really nice that they respond to people like that. And I guess it sends a message that they're focused on their work and they just want to keep talking to people and keep, interacting with the public.
Right. And I thought it was interesting, this was sent through Clarence House, right?
Right. Yeah. Which is where Prince Charles and Camilla live. So It's interesting because after Meghan and Harry left Kensington Palace, all of their affairs were handled by Buckingham Palace. Mm-hmm. And now it seems their correspondence is being handled by Clarence House. So it's just so funny and hard to keep track of, who's in charge of what.
It really is. Well, the Duchess of Cambridge took some time out this week to speak with teachers during Children's Mental Health Week. Take a look.
How is your own mental health? I know it's a hugely challenging time for teachers in general, but how are you getting on personally?
Me keeping everybody else positive and having a laugh and having a joke around really helps me to be positive. That place to be is there for the children, which is fantastic. And I've seen the work that they do is incredible.
We talk about this week after week, and mental health is something that's super important to Kate. But, teachers have been going through a really, really tough time during this COVID crisis because 1 week they're in schools, 1 week they're out, they're teaching virtually, they're teaching in classrooms. And it's been a lot for them. It really has.
Right. And we do hear a lot about the mental health of parents who are having to deal with all of the homeschooling and everything. And that's also super important. And I feel like it's nice that we're talking about the teachers as well. Everybody's having a hard time right now. And I can't imagine teaching a bunch of kids over Zoom. I just can't even fathom how people are doing that.
I can't either. I can't imagine how the kids are sitting still during these Zoom classes. And it's a lot for everybody. And hopefully, knock on wood, in a few months we can get back to what this new normal will be. But
right. And it's nice that Kate told them to look after themselves because I don't think most people are telling teachers to do that. And it's really important. So
right. Yeah. They're just expecting the world from them, and they're doing a great job. So shout out to all the teachers out there.
Definitely.
All right. Well, Prince William returns to Zoom to discuss some environmental challenges we are facing. Take a look.
Just so proud of everything you guys have done. It's really, really fantastic. Really had to take some hits and some bumps along the way to get your projects off the ground, but they are inspiring, they are practical, they're tangible, and you guys are making a real difference.
Another thing that is super important to Prince William is, of course, the environment. And he was speaking with some people who are just as passionate as he is.
Right. So he was speaking with a group of young people who are doing different projects that are intended to help the environment. One of them was a girl named Nzambi Mati. She's from Kenya. And her project involves creating sustainable building materials, which is incredible. They're all doing these real concrete steps to actually make a difference in climate change and everything going forward. So it was great that he is sort of egging them on and giving them some encouragement.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like we haven't seen William really that much since the new year. So it's nice to see him getting back in front of the camera, in front of the Zoom.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, this is an interesting story because officials at Buckingham Palace have denied that Queen Elizabeth tried to influence legislation that would have revealed sources of her wealth more than 50 years ago. So there's kind of a lot to unpack here. But basically, they're denying that the fact that they blocked, sources revealing how they make their money and how much money.
Right. It is really interesting because no one really knows how much money they actually have. It's very hard to find this information online, no matter what you search for and everything. And that is controversial enough on its own and doesn't get talked about that often. And now, on top of that, we have this news story which shows that the Queen may have influenced members of Parliament to make rules in her favor so that she wouldn't have to reveal so much information about her finances. So it's really not what people want the queen to be doing. I don't think people want the royal family to be influencing politics. I think that there were like wars fought over that.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Like, this is not a good thing.
Yeah. So it'll be really interesting to see how this sort of shakes out. I guess Buckingham Palace has denied any wrongdoing, and they said that everything was totally par for the course and normal. But yeah, I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world for the royal family to be a little more transparent about their finances, because it is really confusing and a labyrinthine system that they have.
It is. It's really, really confusing. And I would love to know how much their valued wealth is, and like where, I mean, obviously they must be worth a lot of money. I mean, look where they live. Look at I'm sure the paintings alone that they have, everything in that home, and all of their castles, I'm sure. It's
absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
They have these massive real estate portfolios that people don't really realize. The Duchy of Cornwall, and there's a second one. The Queen has the Duchy of Lancaster, and Charles has the Duchy of Cornwall. And it's just these vast, vast amounts of property that the crown kind of just decided was theirs a few centuries ago. So I don't know. It's kind of crazy that they've never revisited the fact that like they own giant chunks of the country. And the people who live there have to pay to occupy that land. Because, you know, most of the time when we talk about royal finances, we say, oh, they cost this much for the taxpayers and the rest is privately funded. But that privately funded amount comes from land that people live on and have to pay them. Like, it's not technically a tax, but it is their subjects having to pay them to live on this land. And it's just like, why do they own that land?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. How did that come to be? It's very, very interesting. There's a lot of different layers there. I wish I could just go down and be like, I want this land, pay me for it.
Right. I mean, back in the day, I guess you could, but now I just can't imagine being like a cab driver and having to pay an extreme amount of money to occupy this land to the queen when you're kind of maybe struggling to get by. It's just a really interesting system that they have.
It really is. Well, hopefully we'll learn more about it as time goes on, but who knows? Well, we are getting a little bit more inside look behind closed doors, because Princess Anne gave a glimpse inside her private home, and it's surprisingly just as cluttered and normal as ours.
Yeah, if you were to ask me which member of the royal family is a little bit of a hoarder and clutter fiend like myself, I think I would have said Princess Anne. She has that sort of salt of the earth vibe about her, where I'm not super surprised that her house isn't quite as put together as some of the other members of the royal family.
Right. It's just like a glimpse inside like another grandma's home, which I love. I think it was great. And the royal family shared it. And it's nice that during this time we have gotten like a behind the scenes peek at the homes, the photos that they have on their walls and, you know, on their dressers and things like that. So that's kind of cool that we've been able to see this during quarantine, because we haven't gotten a chance to see it in the past.
Yeah, it really is fun. And I wonder if there's going to be like a resurgence in this sort of like posh way of decorating where there's, you know, the tchotchkes all around and everything. It would be interesting to see.
Well, all right, well, now it is time to spill the royalty, and we're getting a bit more information on why Meghan is not returning to the UK this summer. A journalist and who co-wrote the book Finding Freedom, Omen Scobie, he came out to say that, you know, this wasn't really a dig at the royal family. It's just a lot for her to do.
Yeah, I mean, it makes total sense. I still don't think we should 100% believe one way or the other whether she's going to come, because it's a long way away. Yeah. But the thing is, in the UK right now, a lot of new travel restrictions are coming into effect and people are being discouraged from traveling. So I think it's especially true that if Meghan was planning a giant transatlantic trip, she would see backlash, because she already sees backlash for everything she does. So why risk it with this right now?
Yeah. And Omen did say that she would be participating via Zoom if she doesn't end up going. And you know, like you said, we're still, 5-6 months out. So a lot can happen in that time. And a lot of travel restrictions could be lifted, could still be in place. So Harry might not even be able to go either. So there's a lot of questions up in the air. So we'll have to wait and see. Well, Meghan may be staying home and busy writing. According to Vanity Fair's Katie Nichol, Meghan has been approached with some lucrative offers from publishing companies, which really isn't that surprising.
Right. I mean, everyone probably wants her book is probably the golden ticket in the publishing world. Like everybody wants it. But what do you think she would write about?
I don't know. I don't think that she would be doing like a tell-all about the royal family. I don't think that would sit well. And I mean, we kind of got that in Finding Freedom a little bit. Maybe it's like the TIG 2.0 and we're getting some tips and tricks. And I don't think that it will be like a gossipy, juicy book. I think it's going to be maybe like more about her life and her charity works and her, things that she's passionate about. I don't think it's going to be like, this is why I left the royal family. I don't think we're going to get that.
I know. I wish we were getting that.
I know.
He's so good. But yeah, I agree. Between the TIG and between the issue of Vogue that she co-edited and guest edited, she's also a little bit of a journalist. So I wouldn't be surprised if her book spotlights other people instead of herself. I feel like that might be something that she would get into. I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. I could definitely see that too. Well, Meghan will most likely not be taking notes from her half-sister, Samantha Markle, who is releasing her book, The Diary of Princess's Pushy Sister. And an excerpt was released where she goes into detail about those staged photographs with her father, Thomas Markle. Of course, he staged those photographs right before her wedding, going tuxedo shopping. And Samantha says that this was kind of blown way out of proportion.
I mean, we're still talking about it. I feel like it's the most boring story ever, right? And they're the ones who keep bringing it up. Like Samantha and Thomas Markle are constantly dredging up this photo issue, and I just don't. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. It's like it's time to let it go. But like you said, we're still talking about it after almost 3 years, and I think she's just using this to kind of get headlines and to kind of get people interested in the book. I don't know if people are going to be interested into hearing what she has to say. She also said that he wasn't paid to get these photographs taken, which I don't know if I believe either. I don't know. It's very hard to figure out who's telling the truth in this situation, who isn't.
Yeah. And even if he was or wasn't paid, like, I don't know. I just don't care.
I don't care either. I don't care.
It seems like they made some really bad decisions in regards to handling the media, and like, okay, put a pin in it. It's done. Like the details don't really change it one way or the other for me. I don't know.
Not changing my opinion at all. So, I don't know. All right. Well, now it is time to break down the royal rules, and to help us this week is author and royal expert Robert Jobson, who we talked to last week, but we had so much great stuff that we wanted to bring you a little bit more. So this week, Robert reveals how he thinks Princess Diana would have thought about Harry and William's long rumored feud. Obviously, this is just opinion, but do you think Harry is happier now, 1 year removed from the royal family?
One can only speculate. I mean, I don't know. I know that he was. I think that there's certain. With any long distance relationship, if one partner's got to give to the other and give to their way of life, it must be difficult. I mean, his way of life on the West Coast is very different to what his way of life would have been as a prince, and her way of life as an actress and West Coast girl, it was very different when she came to London. So something has to give along the way. And so he's decided that she tried it over here, didn't work, and he's gone over there. It's not as if they're living in the squalor in a downtown area. They've got a nice lifestyle and they're making a lot of money. Will he be happier? Well, I think he'll miss certain things. His commitments with the military, his royal duties. I think they meant something to him.
Right.
I think his camaraderie with some of his colleagues and the work that he did, he will miss. But as a father and as a husband, he's probably weighing the situation up. Undoubtedly, he will be missing his family. But family doesn't seem to be have the same links with Meghan. I mean, she's around the corner from her own father, and she doesn't go and see him. So, look, I don't know. I think that they're probably happy as a couple in a nuclear couple. But there will come a time, as we all know, that when the nuclear couple, after 3 or 4 years, that's not all that it's cracked up to be.
Yeah. How do you think the royal family views their Netflix and Spotify deals?
Well, I mean, it's difficult to say. I would say that they're very lucrative deals. So far, there's been nothing that conflicts with the royal mandate or the royal protocol or anything like that. So I don't think they've done anything wrong. But the obvious point is that if you're perceived to be cashing in on your name, whoever you are, that's not a good thing. And I personally think that if this was the route they were going to take, they should really have just become Harry and Meghan, and that's it. Yeah. I don't think they need the Royal Highness titles. Don't think they should have them, actually, if they're not really being members of the royal family. And I certainly don't think they need the landed titles of a land of the free. I don't think these things mean anything, do they? I mean, you get the odd, John Pettigrew the third or the fourth or whatever, but the fact is there's no dukes and duchesses in America. It's why do they need that title? Unless it's a trade off it, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, in your opinion, do you think when Harry does come back to the UK this summer that he will mend the rift with William? Because obviously people have been talking about this for so long, and this is all obviously speculative, but do you think that this is going to be the time where they kind of put on a brave face together and show that they are?
I really think they ought to, and I think that, their mother, if the mother was alive, I'm sure she'd bang their heads together and say, do a television, do a television interview and just stop the stories, because we're never going to stop talking about them unless they do something about it. And I'm sure the Prince of Wales is upset by it, and why would they want to continue it? I mean, we all fall out with our siblings now and again, but to turn it into a feud is a little unlike Harry, actually. I didn't know the character that I knew. It was quite relaxed, actually, and I don't think he would have wanted to continue this. So I don't understand what the problem is. I mean, there must be something really deep down that's offended it. But, most things with your brother, and particularly a brother you shared so much with, I mean, our brothers and sisters, they've been through the same things we did in our formative years. And I personally think that he should do it. Whether or not they're able to, I really don't know. I mean, it seems that they've probably allowed things to go on too far. There were none of these rifts. I mean, I don't understand Meghan's mindset. I mean, she has a rift with her father. Now they've got a rift with the other side of the family. Someone somewhere has to mend this rift. Someone has got to stop having feuds and rifts. It's not a drama. It's real life. And at some stage soon, the people will drop off their mortal coils. And, those rifts haven't been healed. All I would say to anybody who has a rift is grow up.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible that maybe the people who Meghan does have these rifts with are people who she feels shouldn't be in her life anymore for her own personal happiness?
Maybe. I mean, she has there's not, we don't have that in the UK. I probably don't have that same sort of psychological babble, as I call it, about my personal happiness. How about other people's personal happiness? How about putting people that are older than you, who you respect, you should respect through and show some feelings towards them? The Queen is, this would have deeply upset the Queen. She's 95 years old soon. Show some respect. And whether it upsets you, your balance or your equilibrium or your zong or whatever it is, grow up. The bottom line is, in life, people upset you, but it doesn't mean that you can't just, you can't just see them once a year, smile and move on. And I think they call it the stiff upper lip or the grin and bear it of the British people. But, ultimately, it's avoiding being rude. And if you don't need to cause upset to somebody, why do it? At the moment, we have a constant stream of stories about, Meghan's feelings, Meghan's this. Well, what about the feelings of the Prince of Wales, who's, not seeing his grandson? Surely that should have some impact upon the way people operate and the way people behave. I really think that there should be, I've always been brought to respect my elders, and I think there's been a gross disrespect of the Queen and the Prince of Wales by Harry and Meghan. I think the way they behaved was both childish and petulant. And to then continue it and not say, look, I've got it, let's agree to disagree. How difficult is that? Yeah. I've got my point of view, you've got your point of view. When we meet, let's not have a row about any of it. Let's just agree to disagree.
I feel like a lot of royal experts say that Princess Diana would not be happy about this.
I know it's impossible to tell, but the other thing is Princess Diana, obviously no mother would be happy that their children were arguing, but I feel like she had a lot of moments when she was frosty with her relatives when she was alive. And she even was really on and off with some of her best friends like Fergie and Elton John. So I think it's just, these things happen. And while the people on the outside don't like it, sometimes it's just a fact of life.
Yep. Family drama. It happens to the best of us.
Definitely.
All right. Well, moving on to our royal history moment of the week. And on February 6th, Queen Elizabeth celebrated 69 years as monarch. I mean, that is just unbelievable.
I know, it's really such a long time, and they've been broadcasting it on British TV here, and it's so cool to see just all of the footage and everything. And she was how old was she when she took the throne? She was
7 years old. I mean, it's astounding. I mean, she was kind of thrown into this. She wasn't expecting it after her father died, and she is the longest monarch ever.
Yeah, it's cool. Go her.
Yeah, go her. And I mean, it was interesting. Robert said last week that, he still, maybe kind of believes that she will step aside, not step down, but step aside when she turns 95. I don't know, but she has said that she is doing this until the day she dies. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with that point.
Right. I think that if anything, we're just going to see Charles more and see the Queen less. I don't think there would be an announcement. I don't think there would be any change in titles. Even if he does become the regent, I don't think they would say that. I think it would just be, okay, the Queen is the Queen and Charles happens to be doing a bunch of her work.
Right. Yeah. No, which may have happened already if we were able to go out and about in normal lives. It's, obviously COVID changed a lot of things. So who knows, maybe she would have kind of slowly began that transition, but, we'll never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, before we wrap up, we have to check in on our royal kids in our pint-sized palace. And sources are telling us weekly that Kate and William may be planning for baby number 4. I mean, it's a lot of work.
Especially right now with the pandemic and with Kate saying just how overwhelmed she is. It's so funny to still be like, well, I just still want one more kid.
Right. Yeah. I feel like the quarantine has either made people really want to have another kid or never have another child ever again. I feel like you're either way. But yeah, no. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. She did have some very difficult pregnancies where she had severe morning sickness, where she was hospitalized during each of her pregnancies. And I can't imagine she'd want to go through that again. But if you want a kid that bad, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But we wish them well. Hopefully everything goes well. And I thought this was interesting too. There was a report going around this week that there is one word that is banned for the nannies that work for the royal family. And
this is so funny. They're not allowed to say the word kids.
It just seems like such an odd thing to ban.
Right. And it's not banned by the royal family,
right.
Just to be clear. It's something that happens in their training, the very prestigious nannying boot camp that they go to. They learn not to say kids because they need to be respecting the children as individuals. I think they might be overthinking that one a little bit, right?
I totally think so. But in that report, they said that, being a nanny for the royal family is totally normal. They have, they have a very normal life, as normal as it possibly can be. But they go about doing everyday things just as normal kids do. So I thought that was refreshing to hear too.
That must be why they hire the nannies from that school, because, it's a school that sort of preps them for anyone. So they know that the kids aren't going to be treated like with, special kid gloves. Well, not kid gloves, because we're not allowed kid gloves. Kids, but you know what I mean.
Totally. Special royal gloves. Well, Molly, thank you so much for running down all things royals with me, as always.
Thank you, Christina.
All right. Make sure to check back on Us Weekly's YouTube channel every Wednesday at 10:30, and keep commenting, keep subscribing, and head on over to usmagazine.com for all of your royal news. We'll see you guys next week.